Today's episode of The Mom Game is brought to you by our friends at Gateway Buick GMC at LBJ and Jupiter. I know that buying a car can be stressful, but not at Gateway because their slogan is Gateway's got it. And just what does that mean? Well, it means Gateway's got a wide selection of new Buicks, GMCs, and GM certified used vehicles, all competitively priced. Gateway's got it. In these busy times, you want a car dealer who makes things easy and convenient. Well, guess what? Gateway's got it. When you log on to gatewaybuickgmc.com, look for the Shop, Click, Drive button. This allows you to shop from the comfort of your home, and who doesn't want that? In fact, it's as easy as 1, 2, 3. 1, select your vehicle. 2, create your offer. 3, schedule your delivery. And on top of all this, Gateway Buick GMC offers complimentary car washes for life. So when you want a dealer who has it all, Gateway's got it. You can find them online at gatewaybuickgmc.com or shop in person at LBJ and Jupiter. GMC, we are professional grade. Experience the new Buick. And welcome to episode 168 of The Mom Game. I'm Emily Jones. She's Julie Dobbs. We are still
This is the part where Emily sings because she hates everything,
It's happening
but
next
she
week.
sings to make it better.
No, I feel like I'm in a much better state of mind than I have been the last 3 weeks. Mostly because I'm just prepared to get my nuts kicked in for about 20 to 30 minutes before we start
Emily,
the show.
if you have nuts, we have bigger problems.
This was the softest nut kicking so far. So I feel like we're making progress. And gosh darn it, next week we are going to be in the new effing studio. I don't care if I have to just, duct tape my phone and record it for an hour and then just put it out on the internet. I don't care. It's happening.
Okay, I'm ready. I'm ready for it. We've got things moving and shaking back there at the studio, but it takes a little bit of time. We're almost there.
Yeah, it does. And we're so close. We're so close. May's crazy. We had the holiday, Memorial Day, and so things just kind of, snowballed and we weren't able to get all the things we needed in place. But it is going down for real, according to a song that I used to like.
It's going down for real.
Yeah, we're going to be together again. Yes.
Mm-hmm. So we need a mental health check-in, and we need to talk about summer starting and things like that.
Yeah. So mental health check, as I mentioned earlier, I'm in a much better headspace than I have been the last few weeks. And I think what I've figured out, you learn a lot about yourself when you
don't suck at life.
So
when hit with adversity,
when you're struggling, you kind of have to, yes. And you have to figure out you're either going to stay there or you have to figure out A, how to get out of it, and B, why it's happening. And so I think that what I've figured out about myself that I've kind of already known forever is that just more than anything, the anticipation of things, right? The last day of school can't happen until the last day of school. Mike can't go out of town until Mike goes out of town. And so it's like, I was anticipating all these things, this end of year madness and all that kind of stuff. And I couldn't hurry it here so I could deal with it and move on. And that's a good thing, right? Like you need to be in the moment and enjoy these things, enjoy these end of year parties and Henry's promotion and all these things that you're supposed to enjoy. And instead I was just ready for them to get here so they could be done. And that I kind of took a step back. I just was like, Henry's only, going to get promoted to 5th grade or 6th grade once. And, it's like, stop trying to make things get here so you can check them off a list and just kind of, try to enjoy it. And so that's what I try to do that last week of school. And I feel like it worked. And I think that me being in the midst of everything is way better than me being on the forward end of things, right? To where things are coming at me. And so I'm fine when I'm in the midst of it, because that's kind of when I thrive. Like, yes, let's get shit done. Let's
doing
do
this.
Shit. Let's, right. Anticipating it is where I struggle. And so I need to have a better plan going into high traffic stress situations, periods of my life, to where that can become overwhelming. And so that's kind of what I've tried to do this last week, and I feel like I did a pretty good job. We had a great week last week of school. We had a great end of year. Summer's here, and I feel like I've just kind of breathed a little bit and thought, okay, I can do this. And then also too, trying to learn from it. Like, like I said, like quit fucking anticipating everything so much and just plan for it and be ready for it. And then when it gets here, then that's when I'm fine, So
that
anyway, so mental health check is
that makes a lot
good.
of sense. So it's like getting through the congestion of things. Because my question was going to be like, what are you trying to get to? Like, there's got to be somewhere that you'll get to that then causes the anxiety to go away. Otherwise, you're spinning your wheels for your whole life. Like, you know what I mean? Like, if there's always something you're rushing to or trying to get to, and not just you, but like people. It's like always trying to get here, always trying to finish this to get to this. Like, when does that stop? Because that will definitely make you insane, right? Like, because it won't stop. It'll just go forever.
Yeah. Right. And I think that's what it was. I think because we've talked about a million times in the last month, the month of May is fucking bananas. It was such a, and then Mike left town as soon as school was out. He left on Memorial Day. And so I think it was just that kind of, that 2-week stretch where it was just so much going on that, just looking at my, paper planner that I still have and seeing all these things and knowing everything that had to be done on top of work and all that kind of stuff. And thank goodness the Rangers were out of town. I did that on purpose. I've learned myself well enough to know that like I need to not work when it's, important times in my kids' lives and all that kind of stuff. And so that definitely helped them being on the road. But yeah, I think that's it. I think once we hit summer, once school was over and all of those obligations had been met, then I think I was able to breathe. I mean, Hattie's at a softball camp this week, and then Henry's helping me around the house. And right now he's like riding his bike and, in the neighborhood. They went and met at the school and they're going to play. And so we took a walk this morning with the dogs. Like, it just little things trying to like get back to, a little bit of a routine where everything's not so chaotic. And so that definitely helped. But I think that I've got to take better stock of when those like high stress, congested times in my life are coming and how to deal with it better leading up to it.
That's very self-aware.
That's where
it's good to admit that like something is happening and figure out how to fix it. That's hard sometimes for people. And sometimes if you don't manage that properly, it comes out outwardly as like this person's blowing up or like this person's a monster or whatever, and they never change it, right? And if you never change it, then I'm getting deep here, but like that's when like the vicious cycle will start, where like you start trying to find outlets to deal with it in the wrong way, and you're seeing that a lot more. I was just talking to my mom about like, just to go down that tangent just a little bit, and why I'm proud of you for like being able to kind of stop down and take stock in what's happening with you and with your life. It's like more and more people, and for whatever reason, it seems to be mostly males, like dads are older, like anywhere from like 40 to 60. Like my mom's, not to like blast anything personal, but like she's got a really good friend who has a husband who's just like downward spiraling, like later in life, like got into gambling and this and that, and has like lost a bunch of money and is not doing well. And I have another friend who has a husband kind of turning to something bad, and then it brings down the whole family. And it's like, I'm seeing it more and more. It's like just like people that don't know what to do when they're feeling maybe the way you were feeling, or when they have too many things that are out of their control, that it stresses them out. And especially for a dad, I think a lot of it is financial, based. Like if they feel like they need to be providing for their family, and maybe they're not, or they lose their job or whatever, it's scary. And then just to take it even weirder and deeper, which isn't where we want this show to go right now, but like those are the kinds of mental health problems we're seeing that lead to, like, sometimes it's violence, sometimes it's violence against yourself or other people. It's bad. So my point being, like, this can all spiral, right? Like for anybody, anytime you're having a freak out moment, it's like, it's on you to stop down and figure out why and how to fix it, instead of just going down this spiral and continuing to go down this spiral. So I talk about it a lot, I guess, with like Jeff and our show, and maybe that's where my head's even more in that place too. You know, like my coworker who battles outwardly, like battles depression and anxiety, and he's really good at like stopping down and figuring it out for himself. Like it's just more prevalent than ever, I think, right now, in people and society and stress and everything else. So all that to say, I'm proud of you, and I agree, like that all makes so much sense. So to try to like maybe be able to stop yourself down and figure out why, but then also having those factors kind of calming down, like, and I'm feeling it too with the summer. It's like really nice.
Yeah, well, and it's like it's not the hardest part is like talking about it, because you're like, you feel like, oh, no one wants to hear me whine about whatever or what, but it's part of the process, because if you don't talk about it, all you do is internalize it. So if you don't admit to someone, or you don't confide in someone, like, fuck, I'm struggling, like, not like, I mean, I wasn't ever, struggling to the point of,
Yeah.
I just was like, I'm feeling really overwhelmed. And like with you, you're someone I talk to on a pretty daily basis, that if I didn't tell you, then I'm just going to keep being a bitch because I'm thinking about 10 million other things and I'm stressed out. So that's why I was like, I
Yeah.
just got to tell her. Like, I've got to, express. And I will tell you, it helps. Like, and I know that people feel like they don't want to burden other people, even if it's something as small as what I was dealing with, or, continue to deal with, like just being overwhelmed. Like, it's important to talk to people. It's important to, because once you put it out there, once you say it out loud, it's like, okay, I've had the opportunity to tell someone about this. Now I've acknowledged it. It's not just me in my head. I'm telling someone else. And so then I almost felt like accountable to you. Like, I wanted to be able to kind of report back,
Oh,
like, okay, this is kind of what I'm learning about what I've felt. And there's just the things that I told you. And I just feel like it's nice to have that accountability of telling, just
yeah.
talking about it with someone. So, and then they check in on you, and it's all this kind of,
Yeah.
that's a good cycle to get into, instead of the ones where you're just downward and you feel like you're all by yourself because you don't want to burden anyone else, when really that's the absolute worst thing you can do, is to keep it all in. And you think you're being strong, like, look at me, I'm so tough, I can do anything, and I don't show any emotion because I can do it all and figure it all out. And it's
Yeah.
just not the case. Like, it's just not the case. At least it's not for
No.
me. Like, and a lot of times I am able to get through things on my own, and I am able to fight through and power through. But sometimes you just get to a point where you're like, fuck, I'm not. I just need to tell you that, like, shit sucks
Yeah.
right now for
I'm glad
me.
you did.
Um,
It's
and
okay.
two, another thing is, like, I didn't want my kids. Yeah, oh yeah. And I don't want my, like, like, I wanted to protect, my family, is shield my family from it as much as possible, because they're going through, all these things that I'm going through too, as far as like all the craziness of the end of school year and all that kind of stuff. So anyway, yeah, I mean, I mean, life comes at you fucking fast. And so you just never know, which way you're going to go. But it's great to have good
Yeah.
friends like you, and others in my life that, you can just kind of raise your hand and be like, hey,
Well,
I'm on the
and
struggle bus, and it's not really a joke. It's like,
yeah,
I'm
it's
really,
dual purpose,
fuck, I need
because
to figure
like
shit
you're
out.
telling me, because we are like kind of having these weekly slash daily conversations, and if something's up, I will notice, and you want to explain maybe why there's like, the edginess or whatever it was. But at the same time, I think it's dual purpose for our show because we get to air it out on our show. And I think that people who listen can relate. Like, how many people are trying to get through the month of May? How many people who have spouses that travel? How many people have, like, there's got to be some emotion you're dealing with too, like watching Henry advance to the next grade. Like, maybe that's almost like the mom heart in you is like, it's sad when your kids get old. Like every year, it's part of the deal. And so I think that the things that you were struggling with, and it's work, it's like multiple jobs. Some people have one, like doctors, lawyers, nurses, like whatever it is, like very demanding jobs. So I think that these conversations are like really good for us to have, not only for just you and I, but for people that are listening. And I think that, sometimes it's fun to talk about like farting and laughing and sex or whatever, and like have dumb conversations. But I think And I
She do
think
play us.
conversations like this are like really important. And last weekend I was at the Barley House. We went to see Petty Theft, and the Stars were playing, and it was like just such a fun night. But I had two different women come up to me and talk to me about the mom game at the bar. Like women like our age or a little older. I think they both ended up having like kids that were like middle school, junior high age, and one of them came up to me and she had tears in her eyes, and because the last episode I was crying. I was crying about not being there for my kids' things. And she had just listened to that episode like that morning and then saw me out at the bar, and she got tears in her eyes and she was like, I was gardening and listening to your episode and I felt everything you were feeling and I feel for you. And then I almost started crying at the bar. Like, it was so sweet. And if you're listening, thank you for that. And my coworker Jeff was like, oh, what's her number? Like, oh God. I was like, she's got kids. She's married. I cannot handle Jeff's horniness and all of their horniness. Okay. But anyways, it was really sweet. And that was two people.
That's a
I was
segment
sitting there
for
with like
another day.
Reiner and like Jeff and like all these people, and they both came up to me to talk about the mom game. I think they were all kind of like, what? Like, do they not know us from the Freak? Like, it was really funny. It was cute. And it made me feel happy because sometimes these conversations aren't as fun and exciting, but they're things that I think a lot of parents, not just moms, are dealing with. And I love that we can air it all out here on the show. And I'm not like immune to any of that. I just like handle it differently. You know, like I have all of those same stressors, and I'll find myself like randomly having an outburst towards my child and or something, which almost makes you feel like even worse. And like, you know, I knew the other night I had one, and I'll just like share it right here because we're having this conversation, but it's like I, you know, was dealing with a ton, just like the single parenting all the time, just emotionally and physically is very draining for me, to the point where like sometimes I don't even want to talk to anybody. Like, I just want to go sit in a dark room and like sleep. And then when people talk to me, I know I'm short and I'm like, I don't have time for this conversation. I almost start doing that. Like, when is this over so I can move on? I know I was probably doing it to my mom a little bit when she was in town this past week, just trying to help. But I took so Mom, if you're listening, I'm sorry. That was just me being tired, very tired. I know.
We love you,
She's
Anne. We love you, Anne. You're a
she's the best,
wonderful
and she helped us
grandmother
so much, so much.
and mom.
But so we'll talk about the Stars, and obviously the season ended, and the last game, game 6, I took both the kids, and my mom came, and Isaac, my stepson, who is now in town for the whole summer, which is freaking amazing. I love him. He's so sweet. He's so easy. We're finding him a job, and he's getting set up. We found him this cool like rock climbing place where he could go because he loves to rock climb, and they've got like a lounge, like if he just wants to get out of here. I mean, he's about to be 20, and we know we have little kids, and it's a lot to be in our home, and he chose to come stay with us this summer. So it's very special that he's going to be here. Anyways, we were all at the game, and the game was going very badly, as we all know. And my son started just acting out, like just being terrible. And to the point where like I couldn't even have him there anymore. And I left, and I wanted to stay. It was Kelly's last game, like perhaps the last game of this season. And then we don't know what's going to happen with his job at this point. So I was having the thought like it could be his last game. And I wanted to be there for him. I wanted to go and like give him a hug and be like, man, this sucks. I know you wanted your name on the cup, and that's been a lifelong dream. I wanted it for you, and, you know, just be there for him. But my son could not keep his shit together. Like, and he's, you know, Anna is 5 and she was totally fine. Ryder almost 8. Like, I think he feels all the emotions. Like, he is a very emotional little soul. And so maybe his way of like dealing with it was acting out, but I had to take him. I had to leave. So I left my mom and Isaac, my stepson, and me and Ryder and Anna left before the game ended. So I didn't get to be there for Kelly. And I like lashed out on Ryder like as I was driving home. Like, you know, I need to be able to like stop and like understand that this is a 7-year-old human who is having all kinds of emotions, probably because he's feeling our emotions, and the game's not going well, and he knows that we talk so much about dad's job and, you know, whatever it is. And so I had one of those, but like instead of being mean to you, I was mean to my 7-year-old. So it's like, and then, it's been so wonderful since, like, everything's better, and him, like, summer hitting, school being out, Kelly is now home, which is, he's going in, they're having meetings this week and everything, but like he's going to be home, and it's just already been like such a burden lifted. And I'm, and Ryder's fine. And, I probably need to like apologize. Like I know you've done with Henry before when you have a freak out, but I was like, I was really mad. I'm like, you can't figure this out so we can watch this entire hockey game. My gosh. But anyway, that's maybe how I handle those types of intense emotional like moments with things going on, and I knew I had to wake up and get to work the next day. So that's made me a little bit more of a monster, like past 9:00, because I start thinking about having to wake up at 5:30, which is not when I like to wake up in life. So anyway, just to say, like, you're not alone. We all show it in different ways, but we're all dealing with a lot, as moms, as dads, as even if you don't have kids. So I think it's all really healthy that we were able to have the conversation here on the show, and I'm glad that you're feeling a little bit calmer now, and that you think that you have a way to sort through these things when they do happen, because it's just part of life. It's going to happen. We're busy. We've got lots of jobs and kids and stuff.
Yeah. And yes. And there, yeah. So that's what I think that's what I'm trying to like teach myself is like, is how to recognize it maybe a little sooner and deal with it in a different way. Because it's not like to say that like, oh, it's summer now, everything's going to be great and there's going to be no stress and everything's going to be fine. Absolutely not. But like, just kind of recognizing, okay, like we're entering a high stress, high traffic zone at this point in time. And let's, kind of take stock and make sure you're doing all the things. And, but yeah, I mean, I think these are good, healthy conversations to have. I think they're ones that honestly in the past I wouldn't have had. But maybe since I turned like 40, and reached a certain point in my life, in my career, in my family, all that kind of stuff, that I'm just really okay with putting pretty much everything out there, that like, yeah, shit's not all, daffodils.
Daffodils
I don't
of
know, roses
flower.
and rainbows. I don't know. Sure, flowers, whatever. That it's okay to admit that shit's not going well, or shit's not right, or you don't feel right, or whatever. So I think those are important conversations to have. And I'm glad, like you said, I'm glad we're having them. And I hope that people, that are listening can maybe take something from it. And if nothing else, be like, holy shit, finally someone else is feeling the same way I'm feeling, like overwhelmed and burned out and all that kind of stuff, and acting like an ass to her friends and her kids and whatever. So yeah, so I'm with you. I think that these are important conversations. If nothing else, if no one else likes them, Jules, I think it's important for me and you. So
it is. Yay!
Cheers to us.
Cheers to us.
Okay, I'm going to ask you about a mental health, emotional health check on you in sports, which is very obviously going to have to do with some Rangers and some Stars. But let's talk a little sports and Julie's emotional state, brought to us by our friends.
Yes, Bottle Rover. Thank you so much for your partnership. Stay tuned, because Bottle Rover is going to help us with something really cool coming up in the near future.
They're doing something real.
We're excited. Cool, but Bottle Rover, if you don't have the app on your phone already, what are you doing? Go ahead and get that Bottle Rover app. It is a way to order your booze via your phone and have it arrive on your doorstep very quickly. It is a lifesaver if you're like us and you rely on that glass of wine at night or ranch water or whatever it might be. They can help you get hooked up. You can save time, you can save gas, you can save money by getting your drinks delivered for free with Bottle Rover. With a $50 minimum, you will have that delivery for free. We all know it's easy to hit a $50 minimum when you're drinking wine or liquor or whatever it is. You're probably busy at work, you're busy with the kids, and sometimes you don't make the time to go stop by the liquor store. Just do it all via Bottle Rover. You can browse live inventory, you can compare pricing, you can even pick which store you would like the Bottle Rover shopper to go to if you know that there's a store that you like and you want to support. Bottle Rover is a local owned business, and they support local stores as well. Kick back, relax, let Bottle Rover fetch those drinks for free when you spend $50. If you get that Bottle Rover app on your phone, how about you send us a little photo of it and shoot it to us on one of our socials so we can share it? We love Bottle Rover, and we are very thankful for them this week bringing us Sports Squirts.
Okay, so I need an emotional health check on Julie Dobbs. Julie Forbes. Season is over. Star season is over. Kelly may have coached his last game in the NHL. Who knows? Still, obviously, to be determined. How are you doing? Such a gutting way to end the season. You talked about Ryder acting like an a-hole, which is going to happen with kids. But listen, can't say that I blame him. 6-0 is a tough one to swallow. So, how was it? How are you? How is Kelly?
Thanks for asking. We're good. I think now that it's been a few days, that's when it's a little bit easier to kind of like step back and be grateful for the season that it was, the playoff run that it was, getting to play, 20 extra games or whatever it ended up being. And I always have to remind myself, I'm like, Boston lost in the first round. Colorado lost in the first round. Like, we could have been like, there's people that are on their second trip of the summer that play for these other teams. So to be able to be a part of that playoff run for as long as we did, I think was really special. I absolutely love when, the moms on the baseball team and the people you see out on the street, neighbors drive by and honk, like people were so excited and had Stars fever. So that was so fun, and we're grateful and thankful for that. And I'm proud of the team for having a really good season. Like Pete DeBoer said this morning, it's like there's one team that's happy at the end of the year. One team. So like Vegas obviously moved on to the Stanley Cup final. If they go in and they lose in 6 games and one of them is a bad game, the last one might be a bad game, they're going to be just as depressed as we are, even though it's in the Stanley Cup final. So, it was a lot of fun. That last game, it was worst case scenario. I was so mad at them after game 3, and I didn't even want to watch game 4, and then they won, and then they won game 5 again. And so they pulled me back in, and I was back in the building. I was so excited, thinking one more game and let's push this thing to a game 7. There was no reason to think that they were going to have another thud, another clunker. Outside of the fact that they've kind of done that randomly all season long. It's almost like they run out of gas and then they'll just have a bad game, but you never expect that in a game 6 elimination game in the Western Conference final. But that's what we got. And it sounds like they were just out of gas, like Coach DeBoer said. It's like when you're going to the well and giving it everything you've got for 2 straight games in an elimination game, sometimes the well gets dry. It's like, that's why you try not to go down 3 games in a series, right? Like, you don't want to put yourself in that situation. So I think it just sucked all the energy and life out of them. I hoped getting Jamie Benn back would provide a spark, and I don't think it did. And, I don't know what the deal is with that, but, it was a really bad game. I was proud, like the fans all stayed except for me. I wanted to stay and I wanted to cheer for them at the end, and I wanted to see them raise their sticks and thank the fans for a wonderful season. I didn't get to watch it all, but I know that all happened, and I think people are grateful for what we got. Just wish that game 6 wouldn't have been as bad as it was, but at the same time, it's almost that reminder of like, you're not in control here. Like, this is why we hate sports. Like you never know how it's going to end for you. And it's kind of like life, and you never know what you're going to get. And you're just trying to make the most of every situation. And so, that's kind of where I'm at. The team, I know they held their media availability this morning. I need to check and see, like, if they announce the injuries. A lot of times they'll announce, like, a lot of people are injured, and then you're like, oh, okay, that makes sense. Like, I wanted to see if they said anything about Jake Ottinger, because I did I think he was like 8-9 or 9-10 in the postseason. I wanted
I heard you say this morning on your radio
ten
show
and
that he
nine.
was
See
10
how
and
I
9. I
Thank
was
you for
listening. I
listening.
was
I'm
listening to
so
you.
bad with numbers.
You're
It's not
welcome.
dyslexia, but like if it's a number, I don't remember. I don't remember it. Like someone could say, Julie, remember 42. And then like 2 minutes later be like, what number was it? And I'll be like, 45. Like it's the weirdest thing. I don't know what kind of like math issue that is, but that's me. So anyway, thank you for remembering that, and you obviously don't have that problem. But yeah, I expected a little bit more from him in the postseason. But it's nobody's fault. Like the defense kind of and the team as a whole made it really tough on him, especially in that game 6. So they'll be fine. They'll recover. They're losing a few, or they have a few free agents they need to figure out. And we know Pete DeBoer is going to be back, and Jim Knowles going to be back, and we'll see what happens. But Kelly's good. He was like, I think, numb for a day. Like takes a day to just like, oh my gosh, I can't believe all this ends. It's so shocking. Every year we say it. Like you go from being like battling every day to win a Stanley Cup to like nothing, like just sitting there, and it's hard. I think like mentally that's probably really tough on a lot of these guys. Just the vast difference from one day to the next when you lose a series. But they're still having some meetings this week, and then I think he's going to have a sit down with Jim Nill and talk about what's going on with his future and everything there. But he's good. Like yesterday, we had one of our best like family days. We like watched a family movie. He got to be the tickle monster. Like tonight, we're going to the club and having family night. It's like, oh, this is what life is like. Like this is the way it's supposed to be. It's a lot less stress for me, like just knowing that I have help getting the kids to bed and I can work on my show. And you know what else is wonderful? Just like not having until 3 every day to get stuff done. Like I feel like at 2:00, it's like, okay, got to go get the kids. I got to start thinking about the kids, and I got to have after school snack, and then I got to have all the activities begin. And just to not have that is really lovely, and we're enjoying having the kids around. They're fun, and as long as you can like pass the baton parenting wise, so like I can pop in here and do this show and he's out there playing with them. So all that to say, a Stanley Cup run would have been wonderful, but like we're all good. We're good.
Well, I just want to say, so you and I, we were texting after the game, and obviously you were disappointed, and it is shocking, and it stinks when it comes to an end. But if 14 years Kelly's worked for the Stars, longest tenured coach, like he's been such a staple in that organization, and he has everything to be proud of, and you have everything to be proud of as his wife, and you guys as his
Yeah,
family.
thank you.
And so I hope that, like you said, it was pretty raw that night after, but it's like you don't, so few ever do get their name on that Stanley Cup, ever win a World Series. Like I referenced Michael Young, and that Michael wanted that World Series ring so bad and never got it, and walked away from the game way before he was done with good baseball
Mm-hmm.
still left to play. But he made that decision to leave, and because he wanted to be more
Yeah.
present at home. And I admire that maybe about him more than anything. And, and that's, I think, something similar for Kelly, where it's getting to the point where, it would, not saying that he's done, but if he is, that this is a good time and a right time. And you can't take away ever those years that he put in and the way he worked his way up. And, the impact that he had on that organization. And the one thing I forgot to tell you, the
Yeah.
relationships that he developed, that you guys developed as a family, like that's
Yeah.
what matters. Yeah, a Stanley Cup would have been fucking great. Yes, a World Series ring would be fantastic. But like for me, if I walked away tomorrow from the Rangers, like I'm taking away the greatest
Mm-hmm.
gift ever. And the fact that I've built these relationships with these human beings that I would have never otherwise had, not only within the Rangers organization, but outside. When I think about my colleagues, my girls that are like my support system in baseball, and all those things, like
Mm-hmm.
that's the gift, that's the prize, that's the trophy,
Aw,
that's the
that's
ring.
awesome. Yeah.
It's hard to see it when it's so fresh, but But that's absolutely, and you think about Kelly, you think about the friends that you guys have and the relationships that you have with current and former players and coaches and their families. And
Yeah.
that's where it is. That's the
Oh,
coolest thing ever. That's
yeah.
the best thing ever. That's shit you can't take away. That's shit you can't put on eBay if you get in financial trouble. Like that's the real shit. And Kelly should be so incredibly proud of that. And so should you, as his
Yeah.
wife who has supported him
That's
for
sweet. I
so
need to have
long.
him listen to this once we're done so he can hear because it's true and you don't think about that stuff. But it's
Well, and it's hard to think about when
right.
it's so fresh. But I'm just saying, like perspective wise, fuck, he's done an amazing job, and the way he's respected within that room and within that organization and throughout the sport. I mean, dude, I mean, God, what a
Yeah.
compliment to a fantastic career. If in fact this is the end. So that is one thing I wanted to say, and I meant to say it on the Freak yesterday, but I was scared to say it because I didn't know how much influx Kelly still is. And I didn't want it to be like Emily Jones announces that Kelly Forbes is leaving the Dallas Stars coaching staff.
Yeah, that was
Um, but we all know that it's a
probably
fluid
safe.
situation. It
Probably a
was,
good
yeah. So
decision.
I probably did the right thing.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. So anyway, but I feel like, yeah. So
Yeah.
kudos, Kelly.
Yeah,
Job well
that's
done. So
awesome, Em.
yeah.
And yeah, these conversations this week will dictate all of that, but he's kind of like, when you're just kind of giving it everything you've got and your body and your family and everybody are in need of change. So we'll see how it all shakes out.
Yeah.
Hope who knows? Who knows? But mom gamers will be the first to
Who
know.
knows? They will be.
Yep.
We're on it. Okay, we're not going to talk too much Rangers because I feel like we've said the same thing every week. Like, I'm just holding my breath, waiting for the other shoe to fall. And I'm really now maybe excited that this
Yeah.
team might be for real. And this team looks like it's for real. And I really think this team is for real. And I really think they're good. And oh my gosh, they're good. And
It's
oh my gosh, they've
amazing.
got the best run differential in baseball. And oh my gosh, they have the best offense in baseball. Oh my gosh, they have the second best record in baseball. So here's the deal. Whatever I said last week about the Rangers basically is the same thing I feel this week. They are fucking kicking ass. They are so much fun to watch. I am not holding my breath anymore. I am breathing. I will stop breathing and hold it again if
Don't
we
stop
hit a
breathing.
downturn because I'm still a little I'm scared. I'm scared to believe, but I really believe. So they're fun. They're coming home. I'm back to work this weekend. And I'm excited. I'm excited about it. I feel like I've got my house a little bit in order as far as my headspace and my actual physical house and my family. So I'm excited to get back with the team
Awesome.
this weekend. So continue to go
Yay.
Rangers. Okay, we don't have too much time left, but TMG News Desk is brought to us by Texas Fat Loss, and that's what I want to know. I want to know how it's going because I feel like you've been at
Yep.
this for a little bit, and
Thank
you're
you.
looking good, girl.
It's about halfway through. I think I'm about 4 weeks through the program, and I'm like, anywhere between 13 and 15 pounds. Just following this program, which, by the way, like I haven't talked about the fact that exercise isn't a part of it, which is really awesome because I do like to exercise. It's just like finding the time, and that was part of my problem was not having time to exercise. And then I wasn't like changing my eating habits at all. In fact, they were maybe getting worse due to the stress and due to the lack of sleep. And sometimes when I'm stressed, the only thing that makes me happy is like chips and queso. So the fact that this is something that you don't have to exercise with is great. There's no like point counting or calorie counting, no prepackaged meals with the Texas Fat Loss Plan, no bars or shakes or any of that. It's basically you work with a doctor, Dr. Nick, and he's wonderful. He's great. He's a dad of young kids. I think I just saw on Instagram his daughter just turned 5. So like exact same as kind of where I'm at. And he knows how life gets. He knows how it is for moms. And this plan is basically just like it's planned out what you're going to eat, but you do have some flexibility with it. It's meat, it's vegetables, it's lunch, it's dinner. And then I have these magical drops that help move everything along and help with your metabolism and everything else. And for me, it's been a really, really good fit. And I've found that once you get into it, it gets easier because you just know this is what you're going to eat and everything else just don't even worry about it. So it's been really wonderful. And that's why I am so excited to be partnering and also spreading the word about Texas fat loss. And I want mom gamers to give them a call. Even if you just want a free consultation, he will do that. You can do a free consultation in his office in Flower Mound or just over the phone, whatever you want to do. Just give them a call and see how they can maybe help you. The phone number, this is a special phone number for mom game people, and I need that thing to be ringing off the hook. And I know there's a lot of people that want to drop some pounds before summer. So it's 972-845-5050. 972-845-5050. Tell them that the mom game sent you. Just say you want to talk to Dr. Nick. You heard Julie talking about it on the mom game, and you're wondering if this could be a good fit for you. Cannot recommend it enough.
Do you know the secret to losing up to 1 pound of fat every day? Hi, I'm Dr. Nick with Texas Fat Loss, and I know the secret. My unique weight loss program makes it easy to lose weight, get healthy, and get your energy back naturally, safely, and effectively. If you'd like to lose unhealthy fat without counting points or calories, no exercising, no prepackaged or boxed meals, no HCG, no drugs, no hypnosis or surgery, call my office now at 972-845-5050.
Yay, Texas fat loss. Yay, Julie, 13 to 15 pounds, girl.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
Thanks. I'm like
proud
at the
of-
midway
yeah,
point
proud of
where
you.
I want to just
Okay,
keep going.
finally.
Don't slow down. Just keep going.
Atta girl. Okay, so final segment today, a little what's on your feed brought to us by Baylor Scott and White. And I know they were at Colonial. I actually went to Colonial for one day this weekend when I had no children. We went on
How was it?
Saturday, I guess it was. It's so much fun. I drank some Noble Vines wine. I saw our friends at Baylor Scott and White doing their thing with sunscreen and skincare prevention, which is awesome. And then I know that you have a pretty cool event coming up with Baylor Scott and White as well. if I'm
Yeah.
not mistaken.
I love
Correct?
that like we're getting to work with them on these events. You are the moderator, and I'm going to be the moderator for one coming up, Survivorship Day. It's on June 15th from 5 to 7:30. It's also in Fort Worth, Emily. What's the name? Ridgelia Country Club? Am I saying that right? Do you know?
Ridgely Country Club.
Ridgely Country Club. That's where I'll be from 5 to 7:30. And this is actually, I'm going to be moderating like a panel. Last year, this is the one that I did the keynote speech at. But it's just to celebrate cancer survivors or welcome those who might be entering into treatment. Maybe you were recently diagnosed and you want to know that there's a group of people that are there to support you. And that's why Baylor does these events. And there's going to be some great speakers. There's going to be food. There's a Q&A panel. And it's going to be fun. Dinner and 2 drink tickets will be provided if you go. And we'll post the details about where you can go if you want to participate in the event. But just another really awesome thing that Baylor Scott and White does. And I love just how involved they get with the community. It's not just somewhere you go for your treatment. It's somewhere where they really invest in you and they want to help with the emotional side of things when you are diagnosed or someone you love is diagnosed. So it's going to be a really fun event. Stay tuned to all of our social channels or just DM us if this is something that you would be interested in. And I will tell you how to join me at the event coming up in mid-June.
Yay, fun times for Julie, and proud of you because not just everyone can moderate a cancer survivors panel and also to be a cancer survivor herself. So
thanks.
Atta girl, Jules. Okay, last little segment of programming, and it kind of ties into Colonial. What's on your feed? I saw a lot of Michael Block on my feed the last couple of weeks after he finished top 15 at the U.S. Open. Then was it the U.S. Open? No,
it was the PGA
Championship. Yeah. So the Charles Schwab Challenge at Colonial invited him to be a sponsor's exemption and play in their tournament. And in between that PGA Championship and the tournament at Colonial, he blew up. I mean, he blew up for like 2 weeks. And he was really great at Colonial. Like Henry went out there on Friday, wanted to see him. He was like, I got to see Michael Block. I was like, so cool. Well, then he sat there for like 2 hours after he missed the cut and sat there and signed autographs, did all the things, which good on him. But this just goes to show you how effing crazy we are as a society. and social media and the power of it and the drawbacks of it and the whatever. So he rises to this like rapid 15 minutes of fame at the peak of that 15 minutes, right? Then he starts doing all this media stuff, going on different shows, podcasts, all that kind of stuff. Well, then the things he says on those podcasts start to trickle out. And then once they start to trickle out, people pick out the most, I don't know, maybe arrogant things that he could have ever said. And then they put them all together. And then they're like, this guy is not humble. He's just bragging and
Oh no.
blah, blah. And it's like, this guy was put in the most ridiculous situation where he just literally goes from obscurity to a top 15 finish at the PGA Championship. Then he gets asked to do all these things. And, listen, when you're overexposed, you're much, much more likely to say some things you regret or maybe should have worded a little differently. And I think that's
the
what happened to
Speakeasy,
Michael
7
Block.
to 11 a.m. every morning on the Freak.
Never exposed. This is why I could never have a radio show. Can you imagine how quickly I would lose like all my other jobs?
People would love it. People would love it.
There is no way I could be exposed for 4 hours a day on the radio. There is no way. I come on your show like once a week for 20 minutes and people are like, she doesn't wash her hands. She's, wheels off. She's
and
crazy.
We all are
at
our station. Like, that's why we have radio shows and people love it. And you would fit right in.
I know. So anyway, poor Michael Block, he did. And then it's God bless him. Like then people are just picking any little thing he says. He's like talking about how his game is similar to Rory's or how his game is different from Rory McIlroy. And he's like, oh, I mean, if I had Rory's distance off the tee, then I'd be world class. Well, it's like, well, yeah, if I had Patrick Mahomes' arm, I'd be a fucking Super Bowl winning quarterback. Like, duh. But anyway, you kind of feel bad for the guy because it's like he's just trying to navigate this, and he started out as this just like aw shucks kind of guy, and then it's just like anything. People just you give him a little bit, and then they go down this rabbit hole of trying to. Let's see if we can find him not being the aw shucks guy. Let's see if he really is the aw shucks guy. Oh, busted. Not the aw shucks guy. He is, this cocky 46-year-old, whatever dude he is. And I don't even know how old he is. But anyway, I just thought it was an interesting case study in social media.
It is.
I don't know. My whole career, 25-year career has been plenty as far as being exposed to the pitfalls and the dangers of social media and people going back and finding things and saying things and finding things that you said and all that kind of stuff. I can't imagine if you just rose to this meteoric, 15 minutes and then everybody's on you and they're all looking and everybody's going to find something. And
it's like running for office. Right?
So I feel like he's a really good dude.
Yeah.
Yes. Like, I know. So I feel like he got caught up a little bit. And
I know.
Him. I mean,
I'm sure he would do it all over again. Sucks. And I think he made probably a lot of money, which is nice. Like I know selling something from the maybe one of his golf clubs. I think that's what it was. Like from the tournament, he made like more than he would make in multiple years at his old job. So things like that. But yeah, it's so funny. It's like, how can we tear somebody apart? And just as an aside as to what's on our feed, we did do a bet here and I've been meaning to bring this back up because we bet on if Taylor Swift would be associated with another dude by I need to revisit like what the actual parameters of the bet were.
Is she already?
And it's been a while. I've been meaning to tell you. Like she is in this relationship / we did. Was it May? Was it Memorial Day? Was it spring break? I think it was May. But I
don't remember. We'll have to look. We'll have to go back in the archives.
She was rumored first with like a F1 driver. And I remember when I saw that, I was like, haha, because it was like maybe a week or two after we talked. But now she's like going around with, Ashley says it was Memorial Day, our producer. So she's already on her second one, by the way. So you need to pay up to whatever it was that we bet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who's the second? I think I said I would shave my head.
You did not. I would never let you do
No,
that.
I
That would be
don't.
bad for the mom game ratings.
I'm gonna be mad for.
I'm just
bad
kidding.
For a lot of things.
But yeah, so she now is like dating this Matty Healy guy. He's the lead singer for 1975. And I don't know, they've been making out, and maybe they're not dating, but they're definitely like seeing each other and hooking up. And people have just completely ripped him to shreds, like, because he's dating Taylor Swift. It's like they've dug up every little thing that he's done that, you know, it could be frowned upon or whatever. And I think he does seem a little slimy. I think Taylor can do a lot better than him, but it's just like what you're talking about. It's like all of a sudden he's dating Taylor Swift, and now like everyone's weighing in on him and if he's good enough for her, and things he's done in the past. And it's just the way our world works, the way society works these days.
I know, and that's why it's hard for her to find a legit boyfriend, because nobody wants to deal with that shit. You know. Okay, I've got to go. I have to go pick up. Apparently, Henry's at a park and needs to get to baseball practice before he can.
You
make
go
it home,
get
so
Henry from that park. I do not want Henry to be stuck at a park.
Summer. No. Okay, next week we promise we're like the little girls that cried studio. Little girls that cried studio. We're going to be in the studio. We're going to be in the studio. We are going to be in the studio next week.
It's going to be a party.
Julie, I will see you there. I love you dearly. I love you dearly. I'm grateful for us and our talks, and grateful for all our Mom Game listeners. Keep the feedback coming. We love to hear it. Thanks to the lady who was almost crying at the bar with Julie.
Yeah.
That makes us really happy.
It really does. We want to know people are listening and enjoy this. Good talk, Em, and have fun and good luck going back to work in a couple of days, and enjoy the first place Texas Rangers.
Thank you, first place Texas Rangers. We'll see you guys next time. In the meantime, Mom Game out.